You need not to miss any of these from today. It will be a total transformation. Obviously, self-knowledge and self-realization will also be is a part, but the total transformation will be there. Do you still remember mentally into your or in your intellect? Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. I have already explained you the importance of Mangala Charan uh, on Saturday's sessions. So never forget, if you don't know Sanskrit, no problem. We should have a clarity and understanding. The intellect should understand. We should put this thought pertaining to the knowledge in the intellect. That is going to change our mind. Why to change the mind? Mind becomes receptive. But why I want the receptivity of the mind to be absorbed into meditation? But why I have to be absorbed into meditation? To have this self knowledge. What is this self knowledge? I experience the self the way I experience you guys through the sense organs, the way I experience the pain, subtle level, psychological level. So, the same way we can experience, that is the summary of Eastern wisdom. Now, uh, I'm just asking the questions. You have to find the answers in your mind. Do you practice japa? since the journey, since the practice of japa is unfolded, can you count on how many times you did it, you forgot, and you remember, you recalled? Who recalls the intellect? Oh, I forgot it. Let me recall. How many times you applied wisdom in daily life? You will discover that your behavior and attitude will also change as you recall and remember. And I told you last time, mind says, I'm tired, how can I do it? Tamsik guna. I recognize in the intellect, oh, it's a tamsik guna, but I can still do the japa. You are agitated, you are in rajasic guna. So the journey has to, at every moment, I have to remember from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic. So when we move to the sattvic guna, so there are two aspects of that sattvic guna. One aspect is sattvic simply, and we say complete sattvic guna. Can I define meditation? Complete sattvic guna in the mind absorbs you into a meditative state. That is why we have to do the japa. Are you applying these principles, my friends? And then, how you are applying these principles? You start thinking, behaving, and acting in your daily life, in your personal, professional, and social family lives. So that is how you allow that knowledge to be lived, to be experienced. We have understood how the world is suffering, those nine factors. You remember, you recall. So those nine factors causes the impure states of the mind. How many impure states? There may be, I have underlined almost maybe around 20 or 25 different impure states of mind, anxious mind, upset mind, strong likes and dislikes mind, huh? Painful mind, pleasurable mind, all these are. So whenever I experience those different states of the mind, I recall the principle. Remedy is the satsang that we have understood. And then after remedy, I apply the remedy. I take the pills of satsang, and then I experience the change. I should experience the change. If I don't experience the change, go back to these principles and ask yourself what happened, where the mistake is done, correct it, return, and see the life is going to change. What is that change? The finest change should be that you live almost at a higher level of awareness in all your thought, speech, and action. We have been working on what we have been working on the five groups of practices. Pranayama. We will introduce other pranayama also. Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Yeah, you see the sequence. You have to understand it clearly. If there is a clarity, the intellect will definitely guide your mind in times of stress, duality, and a conflict. The third is the discernment. And the fourth one is the japa, we have already done. And the fifth one is meditation. We have a lot of wrong notions and false notion about what exactly is meditation. But we will discuss about this meditation topic from the greatest text that is known as Gita. Instead of defining the meditation, sorry, we will understand the very process. Process means, stepwise process. So once we understand these different steps, greatest text is definitely, I told you, is the Gita. How Gita? Why Gita? Krishna guides the meditation. Who is Krishna? Who is the originator of yoga, tantra, the entire Eastern wisdom? His teachings. We say there are two originators of yoga and the Eastern wisdom. One is Krishna and other is Shiva. What is the difference between them? That is not a topic of discussion. But one thing we should understand that they both are the same. So that is why we say Shiva and also the Krishna is the originator of the entire Eastern wisdom. So now let us understand Kam, Krodha, Viyuktana. First part of the verse. What it says, for those who are free from the world that is suffering. We have already discussed the 9 factors, the binding. So he simply uses the word for the entire world that is suffering, for those who are free from the world that causes the suffering. What causes the suffering? In my mind. The way I perceive and project the world, the way I think, speak, and act in the world. It means I must have a clarity of knowledge so that I can get rid of this world is suffering. Second part of the verse, he says, for the self-controlled seeker. Where is the self-controlled seeker? Second part, remedy. Remedy is the satsang. So you should remember in satsang, we have an element of detachment, we have an element of dispassion, and we have also an element of steadiness of the mind. You see, we are understanding the process. So if you really understand the very process of meditation, then meditation is always successful. Out of the 5 practices, we are talking of the 5th one according to this. So two points. World is suffering, is the world is causing the suffering? No, I'm responsible for it. Let me find out where is the attachment, emotional dependence, anxiety, it has come. And for the self-control seeker, who is that? Who does the satsang, listens to the teacher, contemplates and reflects until that knowledge is settled. Third point. Third point. Through the intellect, I recognize and realize what is real self. I did not talk in detail about it. So now the positive aspect will come. So, what exactly is the real self? Is the real self physical body? No. Subtle body? No. Causal body? No. Then what it is? What are the attributes of it? That is the third point. So now you see, mind is free from the world that causes the suffering, that curtain is unveiled. Now I am focused. That is your satsang. Third point, now I understand. Oh, this is the real self. So my mind gives an understanding that it is beyond what I perceive through the sense organ, and it is also beyond the mind. Means it transcends the physical perception of the world through the sense organ, and it also transcends the mind. Okay, then what? I settle into, that is the object of my meditation, and I settle into the meditation. When? All the time. But still, there are some lot of challenges. So, how we can break up the same, so that the Master Krishna gives us the detail. How we can break up these four aspects. Pragmatic aspects, pragmatic approach, you can say, of the meditation. So, in another verse, again, I'm dividing into four parts. The first part, shutting out all the external sense contacts. Shutting out, can you really shut out? I close my eyes, but you are listening to me. I gave you the instructions. What does it mean? You have to understand it clearly. So it is shutting out from the distractions, from the attachments, from the clinging. Otherwise, all these five sense organs are always active in a waking state. They remain active in the waking state. Oh, don't you feel the sensation the way you are sitting? Sensation of touch, sensation of smell, all those sensations are there. So we have to use the intellect to understand what the master is saying. Then the master is saying, you see the symbolic form, we have to understand it. Fixing the gaze between the eyebrows, what it means. It is the third eye, it is the right perception. Have you ever thought of it or raised your question why we say there is a third eye, singular? Then what is the second eye? And what is the first eye? We'll talk about it. They are symbolical, metaphors. So here we say the fixing the gaze between the eyebrows, moving the third. It means the third eye. Third eye means I have a clarity in the mind and the intellect with the right knowledge. Then equalizing the inward and outward breath. Are we doing it in our meditation? We have been doing in the practice, and then I'm bringing the philosophical and pragmatic principles here. When I say you are paying attention to the flow of the breath, that flow of the breath is equal. What it means by equal, even if you don't recognize you are in a meditative state, it is a meditative state. But why it happens? Because of ignorance. You see? I understand. So I will repeat it a couple of times so that your mind will understand. Moving within, and I always say moving within and living within. So now you understand, I'm living within. Living within means bye bye sense organs and its objects, bye bye the mind and its objects. I'm living within. Simple way. Then what happens? So, in another verse, I will use the three verses for the understanding of the entire process of meditation, and I will explain you in detail. So, with the senses, mind, and the intellect is not working on any object of the world, but it is working inside. So, your eyes are closed, your intellect says, no, your intellect picks up any object of the world, and intellect is living in a higher awareness, and it says, no, you don't control. You say goodbye. I'm not talking to you. It's a gentle approach. It has nothing to do with forcing. So that is a part of your contemplation. So should I think and contemplate during the practice of meditation? Yes, until these objects of the senses and the mind are gone. I have to recognize it. If you don't recognize, you cannot put action. And normally people say, let me go into the thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness is your death. Start it. Just do it. For 10 minutes, can you do that? And I'm not thinking. That is also a thought. Are you understanding? So we create unnecessary problems in our journey of self-discovery. So now you see that what Master says, we have to be understand. So one senses, mind and intellect, now always alert, and I know what is happening in the process of meditation. And now my mind is ready to go into meditation. So my intellect says, I want liberation, I want freedom. So I have an intense aspiration, I have a desire for freedom. Did we have any desire for freedom? Everything is okay. Practice meditation and then go to the restaurant, engage in all kinds of pleasure, and return back again. You have already missed the real part. So, the second part. Third part, then what happens? Your aspiration for freedom is free from the binding desire. What happens? The last instruction of the practice of meditation, there is a self-absorption. And you live into that state of self-absorption. From there, the awakening takes place. So when you listen to this, so even, when you are giving a talk on meditation, especially those who are certified, it's better. Or those who even not, you keep on repeating, oh, these are 4 points, 4 points, 4 points. 3 verses, 12 points. I'll talk about it in detail. But how you can talk about these 12 points? Can you guess? Can you guess? Unless you have a 4 types of intellect fully awakened, you instantly recognize and realize. Did I discuss that 4 types of intellect? Answer is yes. In that 4 types of intellect, did I awaken to 4 powers of intellect? Here is a wall. This is a power of the intellect who recognizes it's a wall. It's a barrier. I have to go through the gate. Door. Where is that power of intellect? So it has to be, you have to understand this. That is why I introduced that four types of intellect, four types of intellect. The righteous intellect. Righteous intellect means, simply means, in a literal sense, it means the dharma intellect in Buddhism. Dharma again means the righteous. Righteous means what is right and good, not only for me, but for everyone. Why? Because I clearly see how I am going to communicate with you. It should not hurt you. It should not put you in any challenges or the problem. So it's a basically a part of an action, thought, speech, and action. The way I think, the way I speak, the way I act. So that is one type of intellect. The second intellect is the dispassion intellect. Dispassion intellect is perfected by discernment, constant discernment. Love intellect. Now, same intellect says, I love you. Why I brought this love intellect? Because I love you without attachment. So that intellect is fully aware. I'm not attached. I'm not bind. I don't have a binding desire. I don't have a strong likes and dislikes. Then only it succeeds, and then the real self. So once you have these three types of intellect, my intellect goes right away to the real self intellect. What is the real self intellect? It is known as the tattva intellect. In Sanskrit, we say. So it means that our intellect is aware, oh, this is the real self. I have yet to recognize and realize. That real self is always present. That real self is always present everywhere in all locations. I have that kind of a remembrance. Only that remembrance comes when you have the first three types of intellect. Otherwise, nothing will happen. You try hard. What we are doing, we are understanding the very process of meditation. Any meditation, whether you do Buddha meditation, Tantra, any meditation. These are the cardinal principles one has to follow. So I'm explaining meditation on the basis of the process. And four powers of intellect, power of faith. So here the intellect keeps that power of faith, keeps that power, power of faith. पूरा सुन लो ना, उसके बाद क्वेश्चन पूछ लेना। पहले पूछोगे, इतने ज्ञानी हो गए, चलो पूछ लो। Ashok wanted to ask a question.
वो बाइंडिंग डिजायर्स के बारे में पूछना था। मैं बाद में पूछ लूंगा, कोई बात नहीं।
Binding desire, I have explained in more than 15 sessions the 9 factors of the world that causes the suffering. 9 factors. That is what the binding desire. You have attended majority of the sessions. So the power of faith is one, the power of decision. Now the intellect is always ready inside during the practice of meditation. Mind is jumping to the sense objects. Intellect says, come back. Do you see? If the intellect, you don't use the intellect, nothing will happen. If you don't use your intellect, then what happens? The mind takes you to the hallucination and imaginations. Then you don't realize the real self. Then you create a strong opinion. I have seen Krishna, I have seen Jesus, I communicate with the Jesus, and still I have lot of challenges. Can you see how logical it is? So the third power, the power to hold. So now once I made a choice, oh, object, I see that. No, I'm not interested in that object. Then where I'm interested? I'm interested only in the real self. The intellect lives with the real self. That is the power to hold to the choice. And the entire intellect in the process of meditation, non-verbally regulate this process of meditation. That is power to control or regulate. Who says? Master. Who is the originator? I'm not saying. Remember that. I don't teach anything from myself. Then what happens? Then what happens to you? Because of the following the every process, in the very first session, that state of meditation become an influencer. It is not a social media influencer, but you are recognizing inside. What you recognize that throughout the day you are full of energy, peace, and calmness. You ward off your all negative and tamasic influences from your life, even if the negative person is sitting in before you. Who cares? That should be the result. Now, your emotional dependence caused by the binding desire, or you can say the other way. If I'm attached to any desire, if I have strong likes and dislikes, that is a binding desire, is replaced by an emotional freedom. You have a sense of emotional freedom. Now you recognize you are living with the same honey, you're living with the same family, same friends, but internally you experience that sense of emotional freedom, which has no ifs and buts. It is very clear. Then, these are the changes that you experience in the meditation. I'm not talking about, oh, you have imagination, you have colors, vision. Yeah, they will come and go. Let them come and go. Share those experiences. But, but, third, recognition. Now you have a higher level of recognition in the intellect. You recognize, yes, sense organs, the word is different, body is different, mind is different, and now ego is also a little bit separate. Now I can see, I can point out here is what I mean by the real self. Recognition, cognition, cognitive ability, cognitive ability. After that, when you continue the journey, you have many glories that comes to you. It may be a clairvoyance or clairaudience, but we have not to mind reading, etc., etc. These powers, they come into the mind, but you continue your journey until you reach to the higher state of realization. That is one word. We say glories. Now, what once you start settling into the real self, Patanjali's third sutra. Third sutra? Ati Yoga Anushasana, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yeah, third sutra. Tada Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. Now I am settled into the sense of the real self. What happens into the settled? There is an internal transformation. You cannot prevent yourself helping and supporting people. If that doesn't happen, you fall short. There may be a different ways of helpfulness. We will discuss in detail about it. What exactly is this helpfulness? Every time, every moment, why it is helpfulness? Because you recognize the real self everywhere. So you're not helping anyone. You are just moving into the real self in your thought, in your speech and action. That is construed as helpfulness. That is what the Buddha, Buddha teaching says: compassion, loving meditation, loving kindness, etc. etc. There are a lot of words are being used. Last but not the least, at the very beginners, one has to start the journey from the very beginning to check I have a crow's movement or not. I know I'm confusing you with these 12 steps and supporting it with what we have already learned, and we will fuse it in from confusion to fusion. But you have to listen to it again. All these, the entire process has to be followed with clarity and understanding. So the crow's movement, the swan's focus while hunting, the dog ability to sleep with alertness, being content. Huh? Being content means that I'm not withdrawn, I'm not carried away by the pleasures of the world through my self awareness. And while sitting in the home, doing all the activities of your social life, and still you remain detached. And when that happens, you can be sure you have the first glimpse of what exactly we talk about meditation. So, my friends, you have to listen to it again and again, all the 12 parts, four types of intellect, four powers, because that is why you are listening to me. And if you are not paying attention to what you are doing, then there is no reason that you should attend to this talk. Then you simply close your eyes and practice meditation. That's what people have been doing it. Are you getting it? I'm sure you're getting it. That is, huh? Now we have gone so far. So once you pick up all those minds, so the sense objects, self-discipline, this flow of the breath, even I don't recognize through the intellect that I'm in meditation, but I recognize the flow of the breath. Oh, that's really good. I'm okay. I'm doing good. So power of faith, apply the intellect, power of faith. And then we enter into the state of awakening. So let us close your eyes and we will start our, we'll continue with these 12 steps and how 12 steps will convert into very pragmatic steps, practical, pragmatic steps. We will understand that. What are those pragmatic steps from? How many steps that I will not talk about now? Either close, place, position, and posture. Being comfortable and being carefree is now, it is the intellect who recognizes. It is the intellect who recognizes and mind says, I'm okay, I'm comfortable, and I am. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Your intellect is understanding that, what it means. May there be happiness for all. If your mind is tickling, picking up the object, people, and relationship with a sense of attachment, or you simply say your mind is wandering, your intellect says the happiness is my essential nature and it is the nature of everyone. So, through the intellect, you get rid of those distractions, and the wandering mind is caused by the binding desire. Binding means that binds me. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all the same. The intellect says, now I'm holding on that the peace is essential nature of everyone. But the mind says, I hate this guy. Intellect says, peace is my essential nature. Mind says, I will definitely react to this guy. Intellect says, peace is your essential nature. Are you understanding the pragmatic approach? You don't treat after the meditation, you treat the mind there and then. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. The wholeness and holiness. We all are complete. I'm complete. You are complete. So we can exchange at the physical level. That is all. Or maybe at the mental level. But we all are complete. I have a sense of contentment. You have a sense of contentment. Result comes from the meditation. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. It's a reminder. May there be auspiciousness for all. Huh? May there be Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. We have done those stays. One, slowly I'm going to bring the changes in these practices. One change you look at the flow of the breath now without breathing. Flow of the breath without any breathing practice. So it gives you an idea, an understanding. I'm okay. I'm already, both the flow are equal at this moment. So what I need to do? I'm enjoying that state. I'm absorbed. That is the first change we will focus on. Why it comes, we will talk later. And now, can I say, we are going into the second phase of meditation, pranayama and pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses from their respective objects. It does not mean that I stop seeing the wall, I stop losing my awareness where I'm sitting. That is extreme craziness. That put you into the unconscious journey of meditation, and then we fall into hallucination and imagination. So we are doing a conscious. What I'm saying, you are judging, understanding, and doing consciously. It becomes your practice. It becomes your understanding. So what I say, look inside the forehead in the space. Very good. There you drop Om Shanti gently. You are dropping Om Shanti gently. Body is steady. You are aware of it. And then you start breathing quick and fast into the rib cage, into the chest. It is different than the other pranayama practices. We are using the pranayama for meditation, not exclusive. The pranayama and pratyahara goes together. Continue. What you have to watch through the intellect. Do you find any resistance? Intellect should get you away from the resistance. How from resistance you move to the endurance. From endurance you move to the joy of doing. Continue, continue, continue breathing, continue drawing Om Shanti, continue the stillness in the body. Who knows it? Power to hold. Intellect has a power, mind does not have it. Intellect is aware of that, and that is what makes the unique journey of meditation. So you know all the process, the entire process. That is important, my friends. And I already told you, now you see the intellect, endurance. Resistance is there, so endurance, but you continue doing it. Oh, so simple. Yes, it's very simple. You are absorbed into, and because of the endurance. And because of the endurance, there comes the another factor is the joy of doing it. You keep on, you enjoy it. Enjoy means what? The mind says, I'm okay. I can follow you. Continue. Continue breathing. And Om Shanti, and the stillness in the body. You will recognize that there is a resistance. You resolve that resistance by endurance, or you did not. If you did not, one symptom, the body will start moving and fidget. Your eyeballs will move here and there. You may get into imagination or hallucination. And mind will take you to tamoguna. What is that tamoguna? Laziness, sleepiness. So, because there is a tremendous resistance and you were holding with the reaction, so you fall from rajoguna to tamoguna. But we have to rise from tamoguna to rajoguna to satoguna. Do you see that clearly? And stop it. How the breath returns to the normal breathing pattern. You are aware of the flow of the breath now. Now is the flow of the breath more or less equal? Even if it is not equal, I continue to pay attention to the flow of the breath. So at the first is the flow of the breath, and second point, just be aware, is belly or the rib cage moving with the breath? Yes, they are either one or both of them are moving. How? Breath in. There must be an expansion. So we are extending and understanding that. And if there is a breathing out, natural contraction is there. We have to create, vacuum is created. So with the flow of the breath, we are aware of the 3 points. At least you continue to stay in that flow of the breath, awareness of the movement of the belly of the rib cage with reference to the breath, which helps us to know the mind is still running after the binding desire, or it is relatively free. Experience that sense of freedom. You have a cognition of that. Well, in that state of cognition, we will also go to another aspect, move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes. This is how the ignorant mind recognizes here is I am. So we say, okay, recognize here you are, but experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Outside and inside, move the mind inside from the top of the head to the toes and experience the calmness and quietness. I know you are clear about sensation, relaxation, and stillness. External level, sensation in the skin, relaxation experienced in the mind, and stillness in the body. What about the calmness? Just recognize that calmness you realize or recognize by having a good sensation inside the body, or your mind enjoys that sensation. And the quietness is basically a space within the body or the mind or the head or the heart. So I'm clear this. They are just aware. Now you see, during your awareness of sensation, relaxation, and stillness, and calmness and quietness, thought may, thought or emotion may come. Let it come. You already have four powers of the intellect to take care of that. Instantly, non verbally, you recognize, you treat it. Now, what should I do? No, just keep on moving the body of mind one one time or outside the body and then inside. Outside the body, you have an experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Inside the body, you explore any form of a sensation. Oh no, I feel the sensation of my heartbeat. That is also okay. I simply said, I become more aware of what is happening within, whether maybe a pulse, heartbeat, but ultimately it will take you to the higher sensations to recognize. And also the infinite space within. Ego is not objecting. Ego is objecting, it's a binding desire. I'm also answering a show question in a different way. Now, looking at the breath, breath is make your breath little deep, silent, and slow. So your intellect regulates the breath as you inhale. Your mind moves from the top center of the head deep inside to the tailbone. And as you exhale, your mind moves from the tailbone into the spine, rises, reaches to the top of the head. But you add one more thing, the singing of Om Shanti. Om Shanti. During inhalation and exhalation, you are doing Om Shanti. We will understand there are a couple of steps in the stage two of this meditation. Today it is the last one. We will be adding one more step. Om Shanti. So you know the meaning of the Om Shanti. Om is pure consciousness, Shanti, of the nature of peace. But then the image, what is the image of the peace? It is a good space. What is a good space? It is an infinite space. So every time you're saying Om Shanti, you are aware of the infinite space. And now allow the breath to be normal. Look at the flow of the breath and start 16 Om Shanti at the 16 segments of your fingers to check and also to enjoy. To check and enjoy. There is a total withdrawal of the senses from their objects. How you notice? That is what we have understood. It's the mind's eye. It is the mind's turn. It's the mind's ear is dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments, not with touching, but without touching. And now leave that, move the mind inside the cave of your heart. Visualize any color. It's a symbolic of triangle pointing upward. Move the mind on each side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti clockwise and anti-clockwise, finding the sync. The moment you have a sync, and you mentally sing Om, pushing the mind inside the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops. That is the point. You say Shanti, and now you ask the mind to do nothing. I'm not interested in you, mind, and you are absorbed. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. I'll share our experiences. How are you, Stephen?
Good, sir. Thank you. Looking forward to the teachings of the Gita. And as far as my meditation, it was very sequential, peaceful, and I am in a very good place. So thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's really good. How are you, Brandy?
I'm still here. I'm okay. I'm in the middle of my fourth move in 4 years today. So I really needed this. I really needed to think about no thank you mind, because everything that's could go wrong this morning already has. So I'm just glad to be able to spend some time focused on my practice today. Thank you.
Beautiful. Good. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Yeah, I too look forward to this next journey, the layers. I find interesting. My meditation was very good because I really focused on the mind and saw the power and the both negative and positive that the mind can do during the first part of my meditation. By the time I got into the nyasa in the spine, I don't really remember too much after that.
Yeah, that was a kind of an absorption. Yes, these are the 12 steps, 3 verses, and each verse we will open up and then we will understand what needs to be done during the day, during the practice of meditation, during the relationship. And will that change my behavior and attitude? The answer is big yes. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. I really appreciated the reminder of the foundations that have been laid over the last 4 years and how the understanding of that is really, really important. And not just the understanding, but that are we applying it? Because if we're not applying it, then as we move deeper with you, we're not really going to appreciate the change.
Yes.
So I really love when you're a little strict, because sometimes we need that to examine why we're in that tumultuous area where we're lazy and complacent, or we're rajasic and we're working for the money, the things and everything that's changing. And if we could just get in that sattvic nature and then do everything from there. So, including Brandy.
Including Randy.
Yeah.
You see that it's very clear. You raised a very important point. So first thing that I should recognize what are the tamasic traits of the mind. Well, first I understand intellectually. Tamasic traits of the mind, the rajasic traits of the mind, and the sattvic traits of the mind. So now I have intellectually understood. So now it should convert into a pragmatic approach. I feel lazy, anxious. So being anxious is rajasic guna, and being lazy is tamasic guna. Not only being lazy in meditation, lazy anytime, anywhere. That is more important. Then only we can bring about a change in our life. So anytime, I feel laziness, I can bet you are lazy and your dear friend comes to you and talking to you, that tamasic nature of the mind will respond reactively. So you are responsible for it. That needs to be understood. Very important point you raised. Thank you. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. The meditation was very deep and enjoyable. It was really easy to watch the breath and consciously follow each step. And when you asked us to watch what type of breathing, it was belly breathing for me. And after that, the 16 segments of the fingers felt very distinct, almost like physical touch.
Good.
And then at the end, deep space at the head region.
Beautiful. That's how I remind myself that you raised one point that it was a belly breathing. So please check that when I ask you to be aware of the movement of the belly or the rib cage, it has to be the movement of the belly. And the movement of the belly should also be right. When you inhale, your belly should expand. And so that also adds up to the equal flow of the breath. That also adds up. So there are many other factors. We will look into it. So how are you, Christina?
Think I'm doing well. I was reminded today again of that the peace is already within us and we're revealing it, and the catching the mind and bringing it back. And the longer that we sat today in awareness, I could feel more details in the sensations within the body.
Beautiful. Yes. Yes, one thing that you raised, that is how our intellect perceives when you share your experience. Everything is within us. It's a revelation. We are revealing it by a process, by a pragmatic approach, by different steps. There is nothing new. We are searching. It is already there. The real self is already there inside. That intellect should have a faith. I told you the power of faith. Because the power of faith will trigger your mind to look inside, go within. How are you, Ashok?
Sir, I'm okay. And sir, fine, sir. Everything fine. Nothing.
कुछ पिछले सेशन को भी बार बार देखो, टाइम मिले तो. Good. How are you?
Oh,
Oh,
I feel like I feel like I've waded into the ocean
good.
halfway, and but I want to. When you said at the end to say to your mind, I'm not interested in let it go away. You know,
Yeah.
what about at that point the intellect also or not? Do you say? Do you see? Do
Good.
you,
But Terry is important. First thing I want to comment on your hat or cap.
yes,
You-
the light is bright,
yeah,
so I have to
I
shade.
met with the same long back in 2007 or 8.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
That's really good. Good. That's really good. Withdrawal of the mind is very important, but there must be a cognition from the intellect to withdraw the mind. If there is no cognition of the intellect to withdraw the mind or the sense organ, the mind will resist, it will react, it will fight back, you will fail.
oh.
So you rightly did it. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm calm. Today I understood that the role of intellect, like how it helps us to separate and understand the thoughts. So it's like in the practice also, whenever something is coming in that, mind was saying that, intellect was saying that why you're giving focus on this thought, you can be calm. So it
Yeah,
drops that thought and it remains calm.
beautifully said. Beautifully said. It is always good you pay attention to what others are sharing their experiences. So when you listen to it again and you absorb all that, oh, it is his perception, it is her perception, and that is going to evolve us. And that is the reason we share our experiences. You rightly said, intellect is why the heck you are paying too much of attention here. So you communicate to the mind rather than the mind keeps on living in the tamasic guna and you want to resist, you want to control. We don't want any control. We want to understand if you do this, you will go down. If you do this, you will go up. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We'll meet again next.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Namaste,
sir.
everyone.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Let's keep it on.